Hey, for episode 199, we got the pleasure of sitting down with Mr. Ben Jones. Make sure you check it out. It's got a whole bunch of cool stuff going on. You can check out Thurko's podcast on 5000ws.thurkospodcast.com and on all major streaming podcast platforms. What it do, Gators?
Hey, yo, what's good, man? It's your host, Cleve. Welcome to the Third Coast Podcast with my man,
Joe. What it do, Gators?
What it do, man? It's your host, Cleve. Third Coast Podcast.
Joe, what it do, Gators? Joe, what it do, Gators?
Program the key.
So he got a new key?
Yeah.
On the spot?
Yeah.
On the
Oh,
spot.
I bet he's paying like $500.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, almost.
It's
It's
like,
like
just about.
over $400.
Yeah, 500 easy.
Man, I bet Allison was mad
Ooh,
about that.
yeah. Cool.
Way to go, Allie. Love you, Allie.
Yeah, that sounds like a, y'all probably looking at him crazy.
I was disappointed in him. Like, man, it got so bad to a point. Me and Zane just looked at each other like, man, I just can't sit here. Me and Zane went riding bikes.
Yeah.
I caught a flat.
Oh, man.
Like midway, we were like going to like play pinball, and I forget what else was there, but yeah, we were going to like a pinball spot, and yeah, we were just riding down New Orleans. Like we left from the house. We was riding on the center line. I forget what highway it was, but yeah, we were just riding down, hit some sand. At some point, I caught a nail in the back tire, caught a flat. Just had to turn it around, ride back to the house.
Man. You
So-
was talking about bikes. That made me think about that bike story that I was talking about with the math class. You remember what I was telling y'all earlier about when I was trying to get my degree and I was in the military?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead and say that.
Yeah, bro. So, look, whenever I was trying to get my English degree, when I figured out I wanted to get a degree, I was already in the military and had already been deployed once. So this is on my second deployment.
Okay.
I started taking classes through Barton Community College from out of Fort Riley, Kansas. So we were in Iraq, but the only person that I had around that really knew anything about math was my friend Emmanuel Pierre, this Haitian guy. It was basically my counterpart. I worked night shift, he worked day shift. We were the lead technicians. Like we went to the meetings and stuff and controlled the production control and stuff. And like we knew what was going on in the work area and who was working on what and what was going to what helicopter or whatever like that. So he was me on the day shift. So whenever we both had the same like day and night off where could spend some time together, he would help me with my math classes. But the base was so far apart that you had to either take a shuttle bus or get a bike, or I mean you could walk to somewhere. You know what I'm talking about? Where you get on one of those bus routes, like it had a bus going around the base.
This is in Iraq, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
in
like
Iraq.
commercial transit.
It was at Taji.
At Camp Taji.
Camp Taji. And then
Never been there, but
I was in
buddies.
Tikrit, Iraq at Cop Spiker on the first time. But they have these bus routes. So you could take a bus to go over here to this place, or you could ride a bike, or you could walk, but it'd take forever to walk. So I had to go to this little like mud house. It was the only place on the base that had internet at that time. Later we got internet and phones like closer, and we had ended up having internet in our rooms and stuff like that. But when I was taking these classes, the only place that I could take a proctored test or whatever
Yeah.
was at this place, right? And so whenever I was going over there, they used to mortar all the time. And like when a mortar would be coming in, the CRAM would start going off. And this CRAM was basically like an alarm system when a projectile or something was coming in the area.
Incoming,
Yeah.
indirect fire,
Yeah.
incoming.
And so you knew that like you had a certain amount of time to get to a bunker or a covered area or whatever, and they would tell you like put your hands over your ears and open your mouth for the impact so you don't get like a head trauma or whatever.
Right.
And so I'm on my bike and I'm going to take this test at this class because I've got this bike for like $20 or whatever from the PX. It was a shitty bike, but I would ride it to this little building, and I'm riding it because I have to take this class, but the class doesn't even count toward my degree because I didn't do well enough in the placement test or whatever. So I had to take this class to take the class that would count toward a degree.
In Iraq.
Yeah, in Iraq.
On a bike.
Yeah, on a bike. So I got my 249. Like I have a 249 assault on my back, and so I have a collapsible buttstock and a short little barrel, and I have it on my back, and I got my helmet on, and I'm on my bike, and I'm riding. And I hear this C-Ram incoming. And so I pull to the right, and I go in, I leave the bike like right there, and I get underneath this bunker, and then I see the mortar like come in and hit. Boom. You know what I mean? And I could see it right there, and I'm sitting there in that bunker at that moment and thinking like, I'm about to fucking die. Like trying to take a test for our class that don't even count, but I have to take it to take this other class that's going to count toward my degree. Which later I ended up getting my English degree. I finished the class, and then I was a teacher for 7 years teaching English, but I got my degree in. But now it's like when I'm writing this book, or when I'm working on something, or I see a project that is like too big of a task for me, I think about that bike, and that's what like brought me back right there, because really the last time I spent a lot of time on a bike was in Iraq, and I used to ride that bike all over the place.
Well, we gotta recreate some of those special moments with the bikes.
Yeah.
Like after,
So
that was your last thing.
I'll never see that bike again. That bike's still in Iraq. Some dude's probably on it right now because that base gave back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
So some other person probably has that bike still, like riding around. But I look at that and be like, man, if I can do that, you know what I mean, then I can, you know what I mean? So it's like, if you have odds stacked against you to do something, because like people every day don't want to build up the courage to try to go back to school or to get their degree in something like that. And so then it's like, if you're a soldier and you're getting bombed, at the same time you're trying to go get this, it's like, how bad do you want something? So a lot of times whenever we need to build courage or draw courage, is some of our past experiences we can pull on, you know, to be able to propel us forward. But the bikes, bro. Later, bro, I had a flat tire on that bike too, man. When I was going to the DFAC one time, I had a blowout on the side of the road on that bike.
Did you ride it back or did you walk it?
No, I walked that thing back.
It?
No, I couldn't ride it. The whole front tire was like down.
Yeah, I had a back tire go down, and I ended up, like, I walked it for about a quarter mile, and then I ended up riding it the rest of the way back. I was like, man, he's gonna have to buy a new tire and the tube.
I got a motorcycle now, and so I've been trying to ride my horses bareback and spend more time with my horses and stuff. I like riding, but I spend more time on my motorcycle. I got an Indian Scout. I love riding it. I got a GoPro that I put on the handlebars, and I'll like do videos or whatever, recording them.
Like the front wheel or like selfie view?
You can turn it. It's got a swivel mount.
Okay.
To where it's 360 swivel. Now some people have like better GoPros, like the GoPro 360 and stuff. I use the Hero 8, but I'm able to control it on my phone after I get the videos like that's on the GoPro. Then I can download them straight on my phone and edit them, maybe like in the Instagram editor.
What are y'all gonna
and
ask
then
you?
put it on TikTok. Well, I like to use Instagram for the editing, and because I find that they're slow motion and they're sped up, and then some of the ways that you can cut and make the reels is a lot easier and user friendly compared to like TikToks or CapCut's another one that people like to use. You know, but I tend to just stick with Instagram because I find it's pretty fast. Like I can sit down, if I have the footage, I can sit down and edit and make a video of how I want it with sped up sometimes to a certain song or whatever, to a certain beat. Like I can use the GoPro to record me doing jump rope in the gym, right? But I want to go find a song or maybe a cadence from the military that has the same beat of me doing the jump rope. So then I'll go on the Instagram app and I'll put them together to where the way my feet are hitting with the beat.
So it's synchronized, it's easy.
Yeah, and so like when a person's watching it, like I might not even get any likes and like a little bit of views on it, but for somebody that actually is paying attention to it, you'll see like, oh, his feet are hitting at the same time that the beat's hitting. I wonder if that's just a coincidence. Well, it's not a coincidence. It's because I put the beat like matching my feet. You know what I mean? Because when I'm listening to it in my headphones when I'm doing it, I'm matching the beat.
Yeah.
But then when you go to transition and put it onto the app, it may not be like to beat with the beat with when you put the song to it, because you can't have the song in the background. You have to, for the copyright issues and stuff, you have to use the song like for them to give it credit. Like you have to be able to give credit to that song that you're using. Because like on TikTok, because I have 1,200 followers now, they just sent me this thing saying that I'm able to do a business account on there. So like I made my name on there, Pawnee Pines, like my book, so that whenever I publish my book and I put my book out there, I already have the TikTok name. So if I want to make a website and start selling shirts that say Pawnee Pines with some pine trees, or make stickers that say Pawnee Pines, you know what I'm saying, and I have like a horse and a pine tree and say Pawnee Pines or whatever, or anything like that, then I can link that now with my creator tools on TikTok, so that people can go to my website. Because if you don't have a certain amount of followers or whatever on there, you can't do that.
You can't do certain
things. Like, and you can't use certain music when you use the business side. Like if you're gonna, I had to switch back to my personal side. Like if I was gonna make a video about my horses and I wanted to put some like cool country song reminding me of horses, right, with it, I'd have to be in my personal account on TikTok, like to use that song, because they won't let me use it for commercial use on my business side unless you have copyright, like saying that you are able to use it, and I don't.
Yeah,
So
a lot of that is because of the people that own the music. It's like they have to get money from it.
That's
So
right,
if
right.
you have a video under this copyright, you can't post it if it's under a business account, because you're drawing
using
money.
it.
You're
Yeah, that's
using
right.
it to claim
But
money
if you're
for
using
it.
it as a personal,
As a person.
as long as you give them credit for it. Now, if you try to post something on your personal and you don't give them credit, and when I mean give them credit, like you have to, underneath that app, you have to go to the music thing and download. Like you can't have it playing in the background of you in the video. Like you have to go under that app's music venue and choose the song, and then choose the section that you want. And then whenever it posts the video, say on Instagram, down in the bottom right, you'll see that little spinning, looks like a record or whatever like that. Well, that's where they're giving credit to the artist. And then everything that's tagged under that song will go into a file on there,
Connected to that
so that
artist.
anybody that looks up that song will see the videos that this under
song was,
this song. Yeah, so like I did a
okay,
Juvenile
alright.
song. You know the 400 degrees. And he's like, bitch, what? I'll bust your ass up. Don't even go there, boy, because I'm ready to mask up. You know what I'm talking about? 400 degrees. And
yeah,
so,
that shit, yeah, that was back when Wayne. That was before Wayne.
Hot Boy,
Yeah, that's
hot
Wayne.
boy. Yeah. And so, like, I used that song in one of my workout things, and then it put like this. I started seeing like Juvenile songs like in this algorithm, you know what I mean? Like I started seeing like videos of people that used the same song in one of their videos, and it was showing me in the algorithm because I used it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
I see.
whenever you like something, or you spend so much time watching something, you fall into that algorithm. Like whenever you tag something, like gardening, right? Like me and you been getting into gardening. Like you got some big peppers you were showing me, right?
Yeah, some gypsy peppers.
What kind? Gypsy?
Yeah.
They look like a yellowish orange, but they're pretty big. Like
Yeah, they grow
Red,
like
orange, yellow.
they're like a hybrid between bell peppers and banana peppers.
okay, so I grow banana peppers and jalapeno. Then I got some cherry tomatoes. But I built this like glass house, like greenhouse type of thing,
Yeah.
to be able to protect them from the wind and the rain. But I've been finding the cherry tomatoes be growing really tall inside there.
Yeah, my tomato plant is just bird feed right now because the birds have been eating up all the tomatoes.
Oh yeah, so my house, my glass house protects them from that. But what I was saying is that if you hashtag gardening, right, or garden, then now you fall underneath this algorithm of all these people that are searching gardening tips or gardening stuff on TikTok, which is a whole nother world. You know what I'm saying? Like you can get into worlds of like woodworking, or this is how you do plumbing,
Yeah,
or
blacksmithing.
blacksmithing. It's like a do-it-yourself like thing. You know, Pinterest is one side wherever you can go and look up like sketches or diagrams of how to build stuff or whatever. But then you got this person on TikTok explaining how to do it in every dimension you know, of how he does it with these tools that he is.
Yeah, I feel like the more you talk about it, it seems like each platform has its own algorithm.
Yeah,
to
it definitely
disperse
does.
Information.
So like
Facebook,
Facebook
it's entertainment,
and Instagram
it's photogenics,
or Meta, like they're under Meta.
Yeah.
And so like whenever I put something on Instagram, I can link it to Facebook to automatically put on there.
Yeah.
But then when I go to on Facebook, I can delete it from both apps from Facebook. I don't have to even go back on the Instagram to delete it.
Yeah, because the metaverse, it seems like the work, like basically it's a dimensional globe. It's a virtual world. It's the same thing as like here, but everything is like interconnected in a sense. I feel like that's kind of like where the future of technology is going to go, where it's like, you know, the internet and broadband, dial-up, things like that, where the start of it, or the metaverse is going to connect all of that, where everything is kind of centralized into one hub. So when people use like algorithms to kind of connect information, like say for instance, like if we tag our podcast, like, you know, for example, Raunchy, and it just shows like a bunch of different things that.
But that's only
towards
if you're
psychological.
under a certain app. Like if you were to do that and tag that on Facebook or Instagram, you're not going to get nowhere the views that you would get on TikTok because of the algorithm. It puts it out there more, whereas Facebook and Instagram really put it out there for your group of friends that always watch your stuff. And you know what I'm saying? Unless you're tagging all kind of stuff and you're trying to pull in, you have a public profile like on Instagram, but then you risk all this spam stuff coming in. So a lot of times you end up people have a private Instagram or a private Facebook where they have a circle, right? They already have a circle of friends. It might be like 1,000. They have 1,000 friends or 1,500 friends, but it's all this one group, right? Well, TikTok, you have these friends, but then it's like it's putting it out there to whatever groups that you're tagging, and they put it out there farther and more than the people that are on Instagram are putting, because you could post the same video on Instagram, have a public profile, and post the same video, tag the same stuff on TikTok. You'll get like 1,000 views on TikTok and only get like 13 views of your closest homies that are sitting at home on a Friday night that are watching your stuff. Now, if I go to make this video of me, like with my creative players, like say I have a baseball game that I'm playing, MLB The Show, and I started off in AA, and I'm telling the story of my dude going up through the ranks in AAA, which is really fucking hard on MLB The Show because you got to spend so much time progressing your dude. So I tag EA Sports, I tag Gamer, I tag video games, I tag PS4, I tag all this stuff that people of the like-minded view of that will see if they have searched that or if they have posted something with the same tag or anything, they'll see that. So like if I go open up my TikTok and I go to one of my gardening videos, right? My gardening video, the people that liked it, the 10 people that hearted it, you click on one of their profiles, they're a gardener.
Yep.
It's not somebody that's one of my football creative player people fans that liked one of my video game stuff. You click on one of their profiles, they're like some World of Warcraft nerd making like videos, you know what I'm saying? Like that's my group that I'm tagging in that because I'm one of them too.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? But you have to be able to, you have to tag it in that app. It's for it to put it out there to those people. But and sometimes it'll do it on itself, depending on, like if I go make a horse video, I don't even have to tag horses. It's gonna see that that's a horse. And so then it'll start sending me horse videos, right? Because I'm putting it out there that I'm interested in this subject, right? But then if I do that on Instagram, it's only gonna be my close group of friends that see it.
Do you feel the way that the algorithm works, like, is it relative to what people need today, or do you feel that it defeats, like, because before it's like whenever you search, like when I would search something, like say for instance on Google, it would show me different things that I could go out and explore to find on my own, whereas now, whenever you search something, it only shows you things related to your previous searches. Like, do you feel there's a limit on the way the information is dispersed?
Well, I feel like it's definitely more specific in how it is, the avenue that it is put. So like, say that we want to look up woodworking for building a frame house with like vintage tools. right?
Okay.
So that's a pretty specific thing, right?
Right.
Well, if we go and search that on Google, then we'll get the YouTube video of somebody doing it. We'll get the Pinterest ideas of it, and then we'll also get like somebody's name that has that in their name on TikTok or something like that. Well, then you click on any one of them and it's already putting you in this specific avenue, you know, but that's on using the Google search or some type of search like thing. But if you go onto one of these apps like Pinterest or TikTok, like you can't really go onto Instagram and type in woodworking ideas for framing A-frame and find a guy that's sitting there like, hello mate, my name is Bill and I'm going to be sitting here building this A-frame house for the next 48 hours. You know, but you can on YouTube and you can on TikTok and you know on Pinterest you can find the whole diagram of the house that he's going to build. It's like different apps if you're able to use them like as a human being, right? Say that we've evolved into these creatures that has all this information at our fingertips, right? Well, if you can use that information at your fingertips to produce food, shelter, and living in real life, then it streamlines your process as a human being. Like we become this advanced civilization that our predecessors were thinking that we would be, you know, because they didn't have the access. I think about my grandfather. Like if they would have grown up with the access to the internet and all the information that I have, how badass of a human being would he have been compared to like what he was, which he already was. He was a B-29 bomber pilot that flew 35 missions over Iwo Jima and Okinawa, and I have all his memoirs. So after I finished writing my Pawnee Pines book, I'm writing this book about the screenplay about my grandfather's life, right? But how much awesomer would this man have been if he had the technology advancements that I have now? And so I think about the men that came before me, and it's like, I want to be everything that they were, but now I have all this access to information. And so this information can be bad or misused or mishandled in the wrong hands. But in the right hands, with somebody that can take the information and then apply the knowledge to real life situations. You know what I'm saying? So to streamline your life. And if you can streamline your life, then you no longer have to worry about a lot of things. Like I was talking to this girl in the gym, her name's Shy, and Shy is a beast. Like she's strong, and she's going into competitions and stuff. She was telling me that she pays her trainer, and her trainer gives her all her workouts, tells her all what to eat, gives her a grocery list at the beginning of the month, tells her like how many reps to do for what set. She doesn't have to think about anything. Like, but she pays for it to streamline her process as a bodybuilder. So now she doesn't have to worry about that. Now she can spend the time thinking about, does her kids' clothes need washing, or what's for dinner, or what time's ball practice for my other daughter. You know, and it's like there's just all this other stuff as a parent that she's got to think about, right? So she's streamlining her process as a bodybuilder by having somebody else figure out everything for her. So now she can go faster and do more things as a person. So what I think to answer your question is, if somebody knows how to use all these apps and all this information and all this technology, it's like we can transform how we live as a person, and not just for us, but for our animals and for our family and for other people. Because if you like say that there's been movies made like about children and young kids making electricity from wind from turbines like in Africa and stuff. It's like just because our predecessors thought one way, it's like we now, like as the tip of the spear of going forward in the future and evolution and stuff, have all these advancements and all this information and all this technology, but it's useless if you don't know how to use it and you don't know how to access it.
Apply it properly.
Right, it's like a big well of water and you're in the desert and you can't reach the water to keep on living, right?
Right.
And then you die, right? You end up dying. But if you can reach the water, then you can live. But then you have a problem that you have to figure out about filtering the water and what you're taking in. Because some of the water may be stagnant or have germs and all this other stuff in it. But if we weren't thinking like that, we would just go and intake, right?
Right.
That's how the information and all this stuff works. It's like we can intake everything, but you have to have this filter, right, of technology. It's like a filter of information to know what to take in and then what to put back. Yeah, and what to put back out. But then how to use it. Because if you don't know how to harness it, right, or how to harness the power, right, then you can't produce it. It doesn't matter. Like people can tell you on the news all day long about the advancements of technology and it don't mean nothing. But I love working with old and ancient tools because you can get stuff done with these old and ancient tools. But you know what I did with my technology? I went and found that ancient tool on eBay with my app that I can just go and search really fast because I saw the name of it on a short film on YouTube that I watched on my phone that's in my hand that I charged, you know what I'm saying? And now I'm watching this guy use this old tool to build this like oven. Like it's like an oven that he's building out of clay. And he makes this tool like a frame to build with the clay. So I wanted this frame and I wanted to figure out how to build this frame, right? So I go and use my technology to figure out the old tool. So then, you know what I mean? So it's like, we don't have to get away from the old ways. And I think the old ways are gonna be, at the end of days, what ends up saving a lot of people's lives. But it's like, while we have an access to all this stuff, it's like, I think that in the right hands, and I think people are using it in the right ways, but then a lot of people are misusing it. So as a person, I try to find a balance between what's real and what's not, and then create what I want and take away what I don't. And so I look at a picture and I try to paint the picture the best that I can. If there's stuff in the picture that needs to be taken out or taken away, then do it. And take everything that I have like an arsenal. Like I have this in my arsenal, I have this in my arsenal, I have this. And some of it is this technological advancement that puts me over somebody else because I have these abilities in this area. Like if I was gonna go for a job and I'm providing my resume, it's like, here's everything I can do. You know what I mean? But it's like, I'm not trying to get a job, I'm not trying to do anything, I'm just trying to live. I'm trying to help all my friends live, you know, like, and how for us to have better tea, like how we was talking about the marijuana plants in the field and everything, you give these marijuana plants tea. Well, depending on what you put in that tea, that depends on how they grow. If they're gonna become a big tree or a small tree.
Right.
It's the same as us. Like we're given tea, and the tea, some people's tea is polluted. And some of these people aren't growing to the best of their abilities, and they're trapped in a certain system because of the tea that they're getting. And some of the tea really ain't tea, it's like a metaphorical.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it actually is physically what they're drinking too. And so it's like, I think I answered you.
Yeah, you definitely answered my
But I mean, I'm sorry for going off on a little thing, but it's like, I feel like that a lot of people, not just we, but a lot of people aren't harnessing the powers that they have and the powers that are accessible to them. And it's because they're caught up. They're caught up, and it's meant to be caught up. They're meant to be caught in loops. You're meant to be caught in a rat race. It's like people say, oh, I'm just living in this rat race. It's because they want you to be in a rat race. They want you to get caught up. They want you to eat the food that gives you the sickness, to take the medicine that they make to keep the economy going, to build the tanks that they use to take over other places. You know what I'm saying?
It goes into what we talked about before about the whole harvesting souls thing.
Yeah, bro.
It's
I
just,
really
you
feel
know,
like we talking.
producing a product
Yeah,
and
going
create
down
side
deeper into
effects.
that. It's like, bro, we were talking about harvesting souls, is because it's like we might be a species from another planet. Like we might be the aliens that are here, and it's like we might be what we're looking at, and like animals look at us. You know, like we are the species that's different. Like we're the ones that came here, and Adam and Eve might have different races all across the world. You know, it might be a different Adam and Eve in all kind of different stories that sound a lot like the Bible. And just because one religion says this and another one says this, if you compare a lot of religions a lot of them have a similar kind of origin of the beginning type of story, you know. And so it's a lot of questions that can be brought up about what we've been taught and the truths that we've been told, like as we've gotten older. And one thing that I know for sure to be a truth is that water is life, and without water, like, we can't live. And so if you can control the water, if you can control like what your people are taking in and what your people believe is a religion, then you can control the masses, because people will die for what they believe in, but then they'll also die of what they're drinking. And so it's like eugenics, you know, and it's being played on a mass level. And a lot of us can't see it because we're so caught up in the rat race. And then even if we do see it, we can't do anything about it.
Right.
You know, there's no power or whatever to do something about it. And so until you start spending time investing in your abilities to try to get to a position where you can make a difference, you know, but you can't ever get to that unless you are able to take advantage of these technological advancements. Because degrees, any type of 4-year education degree, any type of training that you do on a job site or whatever, you're going to have to know how to run a computer in Microsoft, Excel, Office documents, or do some type of computer stuff or online stuff or anything to do with data. It's like I worked in frequencies in the military, you know, in avionic communications. And so it's like to get into that job, and then to do that job, you had to know certain things and be trained on certain things, you know. And so no matter what you do, you have to know this stuff to be considered on this level or to get to this level of being a human. And a lot of people aren't on that level, and that's the lower line level that end up being a lot of laborers and stuff. You know, they spend their muscle more than their mind because they have to, you know. And so you have to find a way that your longevity, like I'm reading this book right now called Outlive, and it's about trying to outlive everybody around you. And because it's like, if you can outlive, like how much stuff more can you do on this earth if you can live longer? Unless you don't give a fuck about living longer and you hate your life and you're ready to leave Earth, you know, because you're in a sucky ass position, you know. Right. And so a lot of people are like that. They're like, fuck trying to live longer. I'm ready to see Jesus because I gotta go work on Monday and I hate that shit. You know, and that's
like a lot of the jobs that are out there, they don't provide a benefit for people to work for a cause. It's all for an agenda, you know, because every job has like its environmental hazards.
Yeah, the military fucked me up.
Yeah, like, no matter what
I'm on disability from the military from being fucked up.
Requires you to work for money comes with its sides, you know. It's just, it's not always a right thing. They only present it in a way that, you know, it's like, well, if you do this for this amount of dollars, then you can have this amount of opportunity.
And then they take your time, you know?
It takes your time, so opportunity is only dispersed on levels, and people who can't find ways outside of that get caught in that rat race.
So how much is your time where it becomes
right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's all I was saying was that how much is your time? Like basically what you were just saying. So they end up making you sacrifice your time and for this money to provide for your family to survive. But then you don't have any time to spend with your family or to do anything because you're getting priced out of paradise. Like basically you're working for the people that you care about to live, and you end up becoming this robot that has to do this job every day that you do so much that you don't even have to think about anymore. There's this poem by Robert Frost, shout out Robert Frost poetry. It is called After Apple Picking, and the whole poem is about this man that picks apples all day long, and it goes into detail about the rings on his ladder and in his feet, like how they bent to sit on the steps of the ladder like all day, like almost holding on with his feet while he's grabbing these apples. And then when he goes to sleep, he can hear the apples going into the bin, like how they're hitting. Like they're not hitting like anymore, but he's laying down and he's hearing all this still because he's done it so much that now it's repetitive, like it's stuck, right?
Right.
And that's what ends up happening to people that have to do a job so much that they don't even have to think about it anymore.
Yeah, that causes complacency, and that's one of the things that's like detrimental to people.
You get bored.
You get bored easily.
Then you cut your finger off.
Yeah,
like
or fall asleep on the job.
Yeah.
Anything like that can happen. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like there's no rotational.
But
value.
you're forced into that position. You know what I mean? Like the only reason I'm in the position right now that I'm in is because the military is taking care of me because of the wounds that were inflicted upon me the time I served. You know, and because of that, I'm so thankful for the decisions I made to serve, to be in the position I am now, to be taken care of like this. Because I see my friends, some of my friends, they don't have like a retirement plan.
Right.
You know, and I can see, like as we're getting older, that they're gonna have to figure out a way to make money as they're getting older, because they use their body to make money. Like they use their body. They have to work these labor jobs.
Right.
And so now, what's gonna happen when their body starts breaking down? And where are they gonna get their money from? They're gonna have to still work. You know, and it makes me feel like fuck, like they're in this position, and I wish that they would have made the same decisions as me.
But that's the way that's the way the game works. Though.
I know.
And that's the way it's rigged.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. And so that's why if you want to make it and you want to be on another level, you have to be willing to understand the technological advancements, but then also understand the old world. In this book called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, Paulo talks about the egg and the spoon and the oil, right? I mean the oil and the spoon, not the egg, the oil. He gives him this oil, and then he has this spoon, and he tells him to keep the oil in the spoon and to walk around and look at all his kingdom and his hanging gardens and his artwork and the tapestries, and to come back. Well, he goes and he comes back with all the oil still in there, and he asks him, he says, "Did you see my tapestries? Did you see the hanging gardens? Like, I want to know what you thought of." He said, "I didn't see any of it. I was too busy trying to focus on keeping the oil." Right?
Right.
So then he said, "Don't worry so much about the oil this time. Go back and look at everything." He did, and he came back and the spoon was empty. Right? Well, it was empty because now he was focusing on everything else that he forgot the oil.
Forgot the oil in the spoon.
So the guy tells him the secret to life is to see and be aware of everything around you, but never lose focus on the oil in the spoon. And so if you're able to do that, you see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
if
there's
you,
some moral to it.
yeah, if you're able to do that in life and like handle your stuff on a primal level and get down to the dirty business of we are the same humans on an earth that was the same earth that we read all these stories about in all these ancient books. It's the same place. You know what I mean? But then we have all these technological advancements that our ancestors that we know of, our ancestors close to us, didn't have. And so what are we going to do with it? We don't have to do anything with it. I'm telling you, there's people out there right now that don't have a computer, a tablet, Wi-Fi, or whatever, that's living straight off the earth. But then there's people that are living off the earth that have 5 GoPros and have a fucking Nikon, and that are recording everything that they're doing and then putting that on TikTok and then making a company about it. And then now they got 15,000 subscribers that are watching them build a canoe you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like you got 2 different people. This one neighbor is out here doing the same thing that this neighbor's doing, but this neighbor's recording everything that they're doing and putting it out there for people to see and editing their videos with the technology that they have. So it's like you can be both worlds. You can choose either side. Some people say that this man over here that doesn't look at the world, not watching the news, that he's gonna be happier, live a happier life. He's gonna go to bed every night and not be worried about all the rest of this shit that people are seeing. But then on the other hand, you have this man that has all this at his fingertips, you know, that can learn how to build a bomb. Like you could learn how to build an airplane. You can learn how to build a boat, you know, just by tap your fingers. So it's really, I guess, who you want to be. Like, you could be this person over here, or you could be this person over here. So like, you have to be able, to me, you have to be able to have a vision. Like, you have to be able to see like forward into the future and say, okay, well, if I take the fork in the road right now to the left, like this is where it goes. Or if I take the right, this is what I can foresee happening. I'm not gonna maybe be 100% right, but I can foresee, right? Because I can be this man that's out in the woods and having all these experiences with my animals and everything and never tell a soul, right?
Right.
But then I can use these platforms and I can use this stuff to put this story out there to try to help humanity in the way that I want to help, and by using these advancements. So that I choose to be both. You know, I choose to be this person that goes out into the woods and doesn't communicate with anybody. But then I choose also to be the one that records it and writes it and paints about it and makes art about it. Because then I can leave that behind. I can use it to tell the story, and then use all these tools that I have, that are computer tools, to make a video all fancy with music and everything and put it out there. And then maybe I might influence somebody that is going to do something that changes the world. You know what I mean? Or maybe this book is going to end up lasting through lifetimes that I write, you know, but you never know unless you try to do it and try to put it out there, try to tell it. Because I can leave these stories dead. Because I'm pretty sure that there's millions of people every day that has an animal die that's significant to them that they don't talk about or ever again to anybody, but they hold it inside.
Yeah, they keep it inside.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not just that one animal. It's like once you start looking at all the animals and then all the stories and everything that's going on, it's like there's so many stories that are untold that happen, and not just with animals, with family members or with people that like they go through a certain trial or tribulation, but their story never gets told. And so like there's a saying in war, it's like, don't kill the poets, you know, because there's got to be somebody left alive to tell like what happened here.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that's my whole take on it. It's like, I have to be this voice because it's what keeps me up at night. You know, like I can't not do it. And so I have to, but I'm going to choose to use the technology, you know, because I want it to be here, because I foresee this technology staying here for a while. And so even after I'm gone, people will be able to search Pawnee Pines or something that I've created and then watch and maybe learn from it to go forward as a person, like as a human. So then now I'm not just influencing somebody that comes after me as a seed, like a son or something, but I'm leaving behind this book that can be used by this father for their son.
Right.
That didn't have the opportunity to go and live this life with animals because they had to go to work every day. You know what I'm saying? Like they can't be out there with Ben playing in the pond researching this frog, because they have to go and put on a welder's mask and put on all this stuff to be fire retardant to go and work for their family to eat. Like they ain't got time to do that. And if they do have time off, they want to relax. They want to smoke some weed, drink some beer, and chill, you know? So it's like, I'm just hoping, and I think about some of my friends that don't have the opportunity, and that kind of drives me, you know, to use the stuff that's available. And another thing is ChatGPT. Y'all know anything about ChatGPT?
No.
My friend Kyle just paid the subscription. It's $20 a month. He sat there the other day and said, hey, tell me how to build a business that I'm going to be selling this or that, right? And then build a brand name for it. Then tell me how to do like the taxes and everything for it. And then write a poem about it. Now write a song about that company. You know, and so it sat there and did everything he was saying. And so at the end of it, he had this whole business proposal or whatever made of how to do this whole company, and then have a song about it, the little diagram, the little what it's going to look like, the logo, what the logo looked like, the song about it, a poem about it, a commercial about it, how to build the company and everything. And so it basically will do whatever. Like say that you weigh 220 pounds, you want to weigh 180 pounds. You tell it your height, your weight, your age, and to build you a workout and a food plan to get you to 180 pounds. and it'll write you out a program to lift, to what to eat, like how much time you gotta sleep, and everything. Like, so that you don't have to think about it. So it's taking the place of a lot of thinking time that's spent on, and it's streamlining it for you. I haven't used it, and I'm not going to use it to write, because I feel like that me writing, that the human writing is going to be worth more than the computer writing in the future, because it's original. You know, that's what I believe. And then the mistakes that's in human writing is going to be valuable, because there's going to be this perfection that computers put out. Right? So the Chat GPT, you could tell it to write a story about a knight that saved a princess that got stolen by this person, and create each character, and you could, and it does it.
It just streamlines it.
Just boom, just puts you out something. But it's no longer your creative art. Like, now it's turned into they created it, but you had the idea, right? You had the framework, like building a house. It just filled up the whole house and built the whole house for you after you gave it that
frame or foundation.
Right. Yeah. So it's crazy. Like, a lot of people, like, their whole creative process is going to be taken away by computers, and I think that could hurt if used too much. You know, because you still want to have creative kids. Like, you still want to have creative adults that come up with new ways to cure cancer. You know, and if we have a computer that generates all our thoughts and all our artistic process for us, then we're going to lose a lot of that. So I think it's just like, you can't say that you like ketchup, right? But you can't eat ketchup all day long, every day. You know what I mean? That's too much tomato. You end up getting like indigestion or some shit. I'm just being serious. Like, but you can have tomato, like soup. You can have tomato, you can have ketchup on your fries, and it's not going to bother you to have a little bit of ketchup. But if you have a person that's got a jar of drinking ketchup all the time, you'll say that they have a problem, right? They have a ketchup problem. You ever heard that joke on Pulp Fiction about ketchup?
No.
Oh, bro. What did Papa Tomato say to Baby Tomato? When he was falling behind, he was like, hey, you need to catch up.
No. I've never heard that before.
Uma Thurman told that to
Who, Bruce
Travolta.
Willis?
No, John Travolta.
Oh.
And because it was a joke that she was going to say on her sitcom, but on the pilot, but then it got canceled, and so she never got to say her joke and have her moment. So she was telling Vincent Vega, John Travolta's character, after she almost died, when he had to bring her back to life and shit, when she almost overdosed. And so she tells this joke, and it's Papa Tomato and Baby Tomato, I think. But I remember it, and I think it's funny because you can tell it to somebody whenever they're not caught up to speed with what you're trying to say. You can be like, hey, you ever heard a joke about Papa Tomato, Baby Tomato? Papa Tomato said, Baby Tomato, you need to catch up. Just catch up, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a double play on the words.
Well, we've been at it for a while. Make sure y'all check out episode 200 that'll be released.
200. Hey, it was a lot of fun, man, coming and hanging out. I know we talked about a lot of random things, and then shout out to Fed the Void. Again, a lot of hard work goes into the property out there. A lot of hard work that y'all don't see, and so and then a lot of work goes into the musicians and the stuff that y'all do see. So it's a lot of people and a lot of different scenes to put everything together, including y'all. Like, y'all are part of the whole thing. It's like y'all are the podcast part of it. You know what I mean? It's like once everybody puts their part into it, it's like Voltron.
Yeah, it's a collective hand and background and foreground work that goes into like
Definitely.
The whole thing.
Definitely.
Live and behind the scenes, like with the different stages, the setup. And then when everything's live and kicking off with like the drinks and, the performances, if it's podcasts, if it's musicians or anything like that.
Hey, I had to say that it was cool kicking it with you too, bro, because I know both your brothers. And I'm telling you, I gotta need to get Grover in here. And look, they sound,
you don't want to do a
they
podcast.
sound so much alike. Look, I'm telling you, you get them, you close your eyes and listen to both of them talk, they sound so much alike. But it was cool kicking it with you. And then Joe's always cool. Last time we did it was at my house. Like, y'all came out to my house and it started getting dark and I'm pretty sure in the background you hear the frogs and
I'm surprised you didn't bring up the Pawnee swamp monster.
Oh, the Pawn. Well, let's talk about it. Sometimes I still think that listen, my dog Nala passed away of cancer, and so did PDP. My two dogs. One was 9, one was 7. But I put Nala's body in the place where I would hunt at all the time, right? And it's like a little bit off our land, this little high spot that I knew her body wouldn't get washed off. So I went and laid her to rest right there, kind of gave her to the woods. Went back 2 days later, her whole body gone, not a hair left, nothing. And you could think like the coyotes came and got it or like something, but I'm pretty sure it was the Pawnee swamp monster.
You say 2 days?
Yeah.
And the whole body was gone?
The bones and everything. Like no hair left, nothing. Like every now and then you see a little hair here and there. But I'm saying there's like been stories of like these big like not, I would say like, I don't know, a bear, but then you have these huge hogs and stuff out there, and then the coyotes get pretty big. But all I know is you don't want to get caught in the woods after night. Like the rattlesnakes, the moccasins. Pawnee's got some critters like out in the woods, and they go in my book. Look, if I see them, they go in the book. If I don't see them, then I don't put them in the book. You know what I mean? So if I see a hog or a coyote or bobcat, which I have seen, then I put them in the book. But I haven't seen the Pawnee swamp monster. But if I do, you know it's gonna be in the book.
We do have an artist of the week. Shout out to A Crow's Murder for the Ender for $1.99. Cleve, you got any words of wisdom?
A little bit on the spot, but I guess be open to share. Like always, open up a conversation, open up a topic. You never know what might pique somebody's interest, even if they're having a good day, a bad day, or just offset or whatever, be, forthright to start a conversation.
Yeah, definitely. I second that. Because you never know, you gotta take that chance.
Yeah, you gotta take a risk with it. Just putting yourself out there. So
whatever your art is, like if you feel it, you know what I'm saying, and go with it, because what ends up happening is you end up losing the battle to it anyway, so you might as well cultivate it. Because if you really truly care about it, it'll keep you up, or it'll wake you up, and it'll have you in the middle of the night, 2 a.m. working on that art,
Yeah, something gets enabled for you to just get up and go and do it.
Yeah, and you're like, fuck everything, I'm gonna do this shit.
It's like this podcast.
Yeah, bro.
And for Third Coast Podcast, I'm Joe. What did do, guys? Sitting here with Cleve.
You ain't got any words of wisdom, Joe?
Huh? Me?
Yeah, you have any words of wisdom?
Just keep on keeping on.
And I had a drill sergeant used to say,
just keep on keeping on.
keep on keeping on, Jones.
That's all I got.
It was great being here. Hey, Pawnee Pines, Ben Jones.
And it's your host,
End of this
Cleve.
year, get my book published.
And we out.
We out.
Is that still recording?
Yeah, I'll just stop it. I got to take a leak too. Oh.
That was pretty cool, bro. That was good.
Yeah, 2 hours of content.
Bro, we dove into lots of different topics that time.
Well, yeah. It's like